First of all, I want to send a shout out to the Herf Cigar Lounge at Sinclair's in Pittsburgh, California. So if you ever in Pittsburgh, California, stop by, check them out. But nevertheless, so um, I had a chance to do this video, earlier yesterday, but I'll talk about it like right now. So, well, basically, what a lot of people have suspected pertaining to, at the very least, some of Jake Paul's fights are now being looked into by the authorities, at least some activities on the undercard. Now, it appears that feds are investigating a fight that took place on the Jake Paul undercard in reference to some bets that was being made. So, they looking into it. Let me explain to you what's going on. You really think they just gonna look into that particular uh, fight? They gonna look into the whole thing. They just not telling you. And one thing about the feds, it appears that this is a federal case. One thing about the feds, they don't come after you unless they suspect something. And we all know that the feds, when you catch a Fed case, they have like a 98.9% conviction rate. Basically, they don't charge you unless they feel like they can win the case. They basically only go after slam dunk cases for the most part. They don't do 50-50 cases. They don't do circumstantial cases like what the police may do. They go after you if they feel like they got enough to get a conviction. So, with that being said, and as you guys know, that Jake Paul fought last week and he won via a first round knockout. Now, a lot of people suspected that something was fishy about the knockout. Now, this isn't nothing new to uh, people that are suspicious of Jake Paul. People have suspected Jake Paul has basically knew the outcome of the fight before the first bell even rung. A lot of people see Jake Paul as basically, you know, what he really was, an actor. And he fights certain type of guys, and then it's almost like you expect him to win. The first real fight that he had, he lost. And his goal is to set up a major payday with possibly somebody like Canelo. Because he been saying he wants to fight Canelo. He says give him 2 years. He said he's going to take Canelo out. I don't know about that. Jake Paul is very lethargic when he fights, loads up a lot. You can see his punches coming a mile away. But he's built a following doing this stuff. And, he has a large following on social media. And he's made a lot of money doing this stuff. But a lot of people are suspicious of the outcomes of his fights, especially the second fight with uh, Tyrone Woodley, where a lot of people thought what they suspected before the blow came, like a signal, like here it comes. Now, at the end of the day, I've reached out to Jake Paul's people. I'm waiting for a response for them so we can set up an interview with Jake Paul and see can we get this sorted out and hear his side of the story. Now, keep in mind, Jake Paul himself, I wanted to give you some clarity. Jake Paul himself isn't being investigated as far as we know, but some questionable bets that were placed is being put in question. But at the end of the day, once the feds start with that particular fight, they're going to look into the whole event as a whole. They're going to start getting on the computer, looking at all persons involved. They're going to start setting up, meetings and interviews saying, hey, we want to talk to this guy. We want to talk to that guy. And I can tell you right now, um, Jake Paul, just in case, he better lawyer up. I mean, he better lawyer up immediately. Now, Jake Paul's next scheduled fight is to take place on the island of Puerto Rico, featuring um Amanda Serranos. So she'll be featured as the co-main event. We don't know who Jake Paul's next opponent is, but this is why a lot of people suspect him and call him, yeah, Serrano, yeah. This is why a lot of people call him Fake Paul. This is why a lot of people don't believe in him. This is why a lot of people question him. Because at the end of the day, you just watch him fight and you just be like, I don't know how he's got this far based off his lack of fundamentals. You know, he's basic, to be honest with you. And like I said, I'll play this game for the time being until something else develops. But, you know, a lot of people suspect this. This isn't just me, it's a lot of people. Now, you know, in boxing, it's like, you know, an unwritten rule, don't speak on fights possibly being rigged. But we know boxing has rigged fights before. We know there's predetermined boxing matches. Now, do I know which ones? Um, no. Are there some that I suspect were questionable? Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing this for a while. And some, you know, there's a such thing as the eye test. But getting back to Jake Paul, once again, I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just saying, well, what I mean, whatever. I mean, he's fighting. So I mean, it's co-feature that I know he's fighting sometime in March. But basically, like I said, Jake Paul, he better tread water and he better be careful. Because, like I said before, once the feds get involved, once they start an investigation, they usually don't finish right away. They start digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's always that one person that cracks under pressure or just folds before, you know, he even starts getting bent. So we gonna see what's up with this. We really are. So, like I said, if I'm Jake Paul, I'm talking to lawyers right now. I will say little next to nothing concerning this event that took place because all he got to do is trip up and that's going to open up Pandora's box for him. And like I said, I don't think much I don't think much of Jake Paul to begin with. This dude sits up here, he wants all this praise, but you look at the dudes he fights, it's just like, okay, this is almost textbook. I think Jake Paul is in a place now where, okay, he can step up competition. You know, he can step it up and show us that he's really who he claims to be and say that he deserves to get the praise that he feel that he's lacking. But I mean, when you start your career off fighting former basketball players and MMA fighters who don't have technically a boxing background, now I can tell you who Jake Paul won't go near. We know he won't fight Francis Ngannou. We know that'll be a disaster for him. We know he won't. We know he won't sign up for that fight. Oh, well, I can tell you it won't be a opponent of substance. I mean, he will find the next minimal average cruiserweight to fight. But I give Jake Paul credit. He gives you You know what I'm saying? He gives you material. He is energetic. He gives you good interviews. He gives you stuff to talk about. I give him credit for that. He does translate the views. But in the ring, that's a different story. That's very questionable. But I'll be back with more. Just wanted to give you an update. So, like I said, I'm not accusing Jake Paul of anything because, at the end of the day, I have to protect my channel. I'm just saying that the card is being investigated, not him. So, there you have it. It's your boy Tam. I'm out.